Have you visited any of the many historical synagogues and Jewish sites in Spain? That's our topic for this video. Come and join us. Spain is continually learning about historical Jewish sites and unearthing them. The Iberian Peninsula is a land that is rich in history and diverse cultural heritage. It's been home to various religious communities throughout the centuries, including Muslim, Christian, and Jewish. The Jewish population had a profound influence on the historical development of the Spanish culture. Their unique historical sites are scattered across the country, many restored and many more still waiting to be excavated. Of the many sites scattered throughout Spain, in this video we'll explore 5 of the largest and best preserved sites. They are Toledo, Segovia, Cordoba, Girona, and Barcelona. Hands down, my favorite historical city in Spain that has a thriving Jewish community is Toledo. Known as the city of 3 cultures because of the coexistence of Christians, Muslims, and Jews. Toledo is a well-preserved community that represents a harmonious blend of these diverse communities. The Jewish quarter of Toledo, or Juderia de Toledo, offers a glimpse into the prosperous Jewish presence that once thrived in this city. The highlight of the Jewish quarter is the Santa Maria la Blanca Synagogue. This remarkable structure is an example of Moorish-influenced Jewish architecture, creating a very unique design. At the time of its greatest splendor, just before 1391, Toledo had 10 synagogues and 5 to 7 yeshivot. In 1492, there were 5 grand synagogues, 2 of which survive. The Tránsito, now the Sephardic Museum, and Santa Maria la Blanca. The present government of Toledo has been working on restoration of the area and encouraging Jews to return and resurrect the once vibrant city. All of the streets in the Jewish quarter have been reworked with cobblestones and inlaid with markers indicating the area. Next stop, Segovia. As you enter the main plaza area, you're immediately fixated upon the impressive Roman aqueduct. Built in the 1st century, it had been used up until about 100 years ago. But there's much more to this historic city than Roman ruins. As you enter the old city, make your way to the left and you'll discover the lovely streets of La Juderia Vieja y Nueva, or the Jewish Old and New. The original synagogue was reconstructed after the Jewish expulsion from Spain and fashioned into a Catholic church, the Church of Corpus Christi, and a convent. In the 19th century, a fire destroyed most of the structure, making the building unusable. Recently, important remains have been rescued and are on display in the museum on site. But there are many other Jewish buildings that have survived, have been maintained, and can be visited. One such site is on the street Calle de la Vieja Juderia, and it's currently a Franciscan convent, but it was originally part of the wealthy Jewish community of Segovia. Actually, a little over 97% of the buildings in the Jewish quarter have been restored and are functioning as homes and businesses. Our next stop is Cordoba. Located in the southern region of Andalusia, it's not only famous for its stunning mosque cathedral, but also for its Jewish heritage. The Jewish quarter of Cordoba, known as Judeos de Cordoba, was home to a vibrant Jewish community during the medieval period. The most noticeable site within this quarter is the Synagogue of Cordoba, which stands as a testament to the community's religious and cultural prominence. Its strategic location, which is within the close proximity to the Great Mosque of Cordoba, emphasizes the interfaith relations that existed during that era. The Jewish quarter of Cordoba is well preserved and contained within the historic center. The area was separated from the rest of the city during the latter years by a walled enclosure which both isolated the inhabitants and protected them from the attacks of the Christians. Most of these walls are still intact. As with many of the Sephardic Jewish quarters in Spain, the streets are inlaid with the iconic Paths of Sepharad symbol. It's a brass medallion in the shape of the Iberian Peninsula, and it's formed by 4 Hebrew letters, which are Samech, Pei, Resh, and Dalet, and this spells out the word Sepharad. Moving northeast to Catalonia, the city of Girona houses another historically significant Jewish site, El Call of Girona, or the Jewish Quarter. This well-preserved medieval neighborhood is a fascinating blend of cobblestone streets, narrow alleys, and intricate architectural features. Jews first arrived in Girona in the 9th century, but it was between the 13th and 15th centuries that the community thrived. During this time, El Call was an important center of learning and the home of the rabbi Nachmanides, who is the founder of Kabbalist teaching. This area was an important Sephardic community in Catalonia during the Middle Ages, second only to Barcelona. There were 3 major synagogues in the quarter and numerous yeshivot. Currently, the Museum of the History of the Jews of Girona is housed in the main one, which is the Girona Synagogue. While Barcelona may be more commonly associated with its modernist architecture and vibrant cultural scene, the city also has deep-rooted Jewish heritage. Archaeological evidence suggests that there was a Jewish community in Barcelona as early as the 1st century CE, shortly after the city was founded. At first, the Jews were allowed to live wherever they chose, but during the Middle Ages, they were confined to a small area just inside the city walls. It was called El Call. Unlike other citizens, the Jewish population of Barcelona paid taxes directly to the crown. In return, they received some degree of protection, but by the 14th century, their numbers had grown to an estimated 4,000 people. And the total population of Barcelona at that time was around 26,000. So it was a large community of Jewish people. There are several Jewish sites that are well worth a visit, both in and around the city. The Jewish cemetery, Montjuic, which literally translates as Jewish Mountain, is one such site that you should go visit. It served as the major Jewish cemetery for Barcelona's large Jewish population. It's theorized that the use of this cemetery helped the Jewish community to have relative immunity from the Black Death. This was due to the Jewish custom of cleaning the dead before burying them. It was a major factor for them to not be affected by the terrible disease. Another must-see site is the ancient synagogue of Barcelona, or Sinagoga Mayor. This is the oldest synagogue in Spain and also believed to be the oldest synagogue in Europe. It's open to the public and guided tours are available. The ancient Jewish quarter also had a mikveh. This is the ritual Jewish bath that serves to restore ritual purity to both people and to objects. Some of the remains can be found within a store. If you ask politely at the olive store, you will be taken to the very back of the shop and you can see the columns and the arches of the mikveh for yourself. Our music selection for this video has a long and complex history. The text comes from the Mishnah commentary, the 13 Principles of Jewish Faith. Ani ma'amin, or I believe. Put into verse by Moses ben Maimon, also known by the acronym Ramban, was a Sephardic Jewish philosopher born in Cordoba, Spain, where he lived all of his life from 1138 to 1204. During the 20th century Holocaust, the melody was composed by a young musician, Azriel David Fastag, in a cattle car en route to Treblinka. While Azriel did not survive, his melody did, becoming well known in many of the camps. In this musical arrangement, I've tried to recreate the setting most performed in the camps. Not knowing what instrumentation you would have from day to day, the melody often was handed back and forth, augmented when the musicians were many and diminished when few were available. At the end of this arrangement, the haunting melody is concluded by one voice. Ani ma'amin, I believe. Please enjoy.